Gentlemen, let me ask you this. How are you doing today? And where are you watching from? I love seeing men from all around the world tuning in, so let me know in the comments below. Now, if you're a man over 60, I need your full attention, because what I'm about to share could save you from years of unnecessary pain, embarrassment, or worse, a diagnosis that no one ever wants to hear. I'm talking about your prostate health, and the 3 everyday habits that could be silently destroying it without you even realizing. Most doctors won't bring this up with you until it's already too late, but as someone who has dedicated her life to men's health, I refuse to stay silent. These habits might seem harmless, even normal, but for men over 60, they can be the hidden trigger for prostate inflammation, urinary problems, and even long-term risks you don't want to ignore. Now, before we go deeper, if you truly care about your health, I want you to do 2 things right now. First, hit that like button, because when you do, YouTube shows this video to even more men who desperately need this information. It's literally an act of service to other men. And second, make sure you subscribe, because that's your way of keeping me motivated to keep bringing you the truth that others won't. So let's dive into the very first habit you must stop immediately. Men, here's the real problem. By the time most guys hit 60, they've spent decades living with routines and habits that feel completely normal. But the truth is, those very routines could be silently damaging their prostate day after day. You see, your prostate is one of the most sensitive glands in your entire body, and once it starts to swell or get inflamed, everything changes. You begin to notice frequent trips to the bathroom at night, that weak or hesitant stream, maybe even pain or pressure you can't quite explain. And here's the scary part. Most men ignore it. They think, oh, it's just part of getting older. But it's not. It's often the direct result of habits that could have been avoided. That's why today, I'm exposing the 3 specific habits men over 60 must stop immediately before they do irreversible damage. But first, tell me in the comments, what's the one prostate symptom you find most frustrating right now? Men, let's start with a habit that seems harmless, but is quietly wrecking your prostate health: sitting for long hours without moving. Think about it. By the time most men hit their 60s, retirement has kicked in, or work has shifted to a slower pace. You might find yourself sitting in that favorite recliner, on the porch, or in front of the TV for hours at a time. It feels relaxing, but what's happening inside your body tells a different story. When you sit for extended periods, the blood flow around your pelvic area slows down drastically. This is dangerous for one simple reason. Your prostate relies heavily on proper circulation to stay healthy. Without it, toxins and inflammatory compounds begin to build up around the gland. Over time, this can lead to swelling, chronic prostatitis, or even worsen benign prostatic hyperplasia, the enlargement that so many men deal with in their later years. Now, I want you to picture this. Your prostate is about the size of a walnut, tucked right under your bladder. Imagine sitting on it for 5 to 6 hours straight every day, squeezing down the circulation, compressing the nerves, trapping fluid in the area. It's no wonder so many men over 60 complain about urinary urgency, weak flow, or that constant feeling of not being able to empty their bladder. In fact, studies show that prolonged sitting increases pelvic floor tension, which directly irritates the prostate. And here's the kicker. Most doctors will never warn you about this. Why? Because it's not considered a disease in itself. It's a lifestyle factor, which means the responsibility falls on you to fix it. And trust me, ignoring it will only make things worse with time. So what can you do instead? Simple but powerful changes. Every hour, stand up and move for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Walk around the room, stretch, or do light pelvic tilts. If you're watching TV, get up during commercials. If you're at the computer, set a timer. Another incredible trick is to swap regular chairs for ergonomic or standing options when possible. These little shifts can dramatically improve circulation and reduce the constant pressure on your prostate. I know some of you may be thinking, but Doc, I've been sitting this way for years. Is it too late? The answer is no. Your prostate responds to lifestyle changes at any age. I've seen men in their late 70s reduce symptoms just by getting more movement into their day. But before we move on, let me ask you something personal. How many hours a day would you say you sit without getting up? Be honest, and drop your number in the comments. You might be shocked to see how many other men are in the exact same boat. And listen, if you're finding this information valuable, do me, and other men, a favor. Hit the like button right now. Why? Because every time you like this video, YouTube pushes it out to more men who might be silently suffering. Men who may have no clue that their daily habits are harming their prostate. So by liking this video, you're not just supporting me. You're performing a real act of service that could literally save another man's health. Now let's talk about the second habit, which men often assume is completely harmless. But in reality, it slowly eats away at prostate health. Now let's talk about a habit almost every man is guilty of, but few realize just how much damage it does to the prostate. Holding in your urine for too long. You see, as men get older, the bladder and prostate start working in delicate balance. The prostate sits right below the bladder, wrapping around the urethra like a ring. When the prostate swells, even slightly, it puts pressure on the urethra, making it harder for urine to flow out freely. That's why so many men over 60 complain about weak flow, dribbling, or the feeling of never quite emptying. Now here's where the habit of holding it in becomes deadly. Every time you ignore the urge to urinate and let your bladder overstretch, you're forcing more pressure back onto the prostate. Think of it like overfilling a balloon. Eventually, the walls weaken. Except in this case, it's not a balloon that bursts. It's your bladder and prostate that pay the price. Over time, this creates a dangerous cycle. The prostate swells from constant irritation, the bladder gets weaker, and soon, you're waking up multiple times a night, running to the bathroom, or worse, experiencing painful urinary retention. Some men even end up in the ER because their bladder can't empty at all, requiring a catheter. And let me be blunt, if you've ever seen a man forced to wear a catheter for weeks, you'll know it's not something you want to experience in your golden years. But here's what most men don't realize. Consistently holding your urine also creates a breeding ground for bacteria. A full bladder traps stagnant urine, and stagnant urine becomes a paradise for infections. Prostate infections, or prostatitis, are not only painful but can linger for months, wrecking your quality of life. I once had a patient who proudly admitted he would train his bladder by holding his urine during long drives, or when he didn't want to interrupt what he was doing. By the time he came to me, he was dealing with chronic prostatitis, bladder stones, and had developed severe urgency that ruled his day-to-day life. All because of one habit he thought was harmless. So what's the solution? It's simpler than you think. Listen to your body. When you feel the urge, don't delay. Train yourself to respect that signal and relieve your bladder promptly. And if you're in situations where you can't get to a bathroom easily, plan ahead. Hydrate smartly, know your restroom locations, and give your bladder and prostate the relief they need before it becomes a crisis. Now, I want to hear from you. Be honest. How many times in a typical week do you knowingly hold in your urine because it's not the right time? Drop your answer in the comments. You'll be surprised how many men silently struggle with this same bad habit. And once again, if this message is hitting home, don't just listen and move on. Hit the like button right now. Why? Because your like is not just about boosting this video. It's about pushing life-saving prostate knowledge to men who may desperately need it but will never hear it from their doctor. By liking, you're performing a powerful act of service. So please, take 2 seconds and do that right now. Now brace yourself, because the #1 prostate-destroying habit is the one no man wants to talk about, yet it's the most dangerous when ignored. Yes, I'm talking about masturbation and the hidden impact it can have on your prostate health if you're not careful. Now we arrive at the #1 hidden habit men over 60 must hear about. A subject that's uncomfortable, controversial, and often brushed aside: masturbation. First, let me make this crystal clear. Occasional sexual release is not harmful. In fact, it can relieve prostate congestion and even reduce some discomfort in younger men. But when it becomes excessive, frequent, and compulsive, especially in your later years, the toll it takes on your prostate can be devastating. Why? Because the prostate gland is not just a passive bystander in sexual activity. Its entire function is tied to producing seminal fluid. Every time you ejaculate, whether through sex or masturbation, your prostate is forced into overdrive, contracting, releasing, and refilling its stores. In your 20s and 30s, this activity is usually well tolerated. But after 60, when the gland is already enlarged, sensitive, and prone to inflammation, excessive stimulation can push it past its limits. Many men don't realize this, but repeated ejaculation in a weakened prostate can trigger swelling, worsen urinary symptoms, and increase inflammation. I've seen patients who admitted to daily or even multiple times per day masturbation in their later years. They thought it was harmless, even healthy. But when they came in complaining of burning urination, pelvic pain, or that dreaded constant urge to go to the bathroom, their prostate told a different story. There's another hidden layer to this: hormonal exhaustion. Frequent ejaculation lowers zinc levels and can disrupt the delicate balance of testosterone and dihydrotestosterone, DHT. DHT, in particular, is notorious for fueling prostate growth. And here's the harsh truth: too much stimulation combined with aging hormones can accelerate enlargement, making every symptom worse. Some men even develop chronic prostatitis-like symptoms: pain, pressure, and sexual dysfunction, simply because their prostate never gets the chance to rest and recover. What they thought was a pleasurable outlet became the very trigger for their suffering. Now, does this mean older men must avoid all sexual activity? Absolutely not. Healthy, moderate sexual release can still support circulation and relieve congestion. But the key word here is moderation. If you find yourself dependent on daily or frequent masturbation, especially as a way to cope with boredom, stress, or loneliness, you may actually be training your prostate into a cycle of chronic irritation. Here's what I recommend to my patients. Be mindful of frequency. If you're over 60 and struggling with prostate symptoms, cutting down on ejaculation often brings immediate relief. Prioritize real intimacy over quick release. Physical closeness with a partner tends to be less compulsive and more balanced. Support your prostate nutritionally. Zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, leafy greens, and omega-3s can help replenish what's lost. Listen to your body. If you feel pain, burning, or pressure after masturbation, take it as a clear signal. Your prostate is begging for rest. This is a topic most doctors won't touch, either because it's awkward or because they assume men won't change their habits. But here, I'll tell you the truth. If you want to protect your prostate in your 60s and beyond, this is the habit you cannot ignore. So let me ask you directly. Have you ever noticed your prostate symptoms get worse after periods of frequent release? Be honest and share in the comments. Your story might help another man connect the dots. And listen carefully. If you've made it this far, this is the moment to act. Hit that like button right now. Don't hesitate. Why? Because you've just learned a secret your doctor will almost never tell you. And liking this video ensures it spreads to thousands of other men who are quietly suffering in silence. Your like can literally save lives. So please, do it now. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final warning. There's one everyday mistake most men make when trying to fix their prostate that only makes things worse. Stay with me, because I'm going to reveal it, and then give you the exact routine I recommend instead. Now, before we finish, I have to warn you about the single biggest mistake I see men over 60 making with their prostate health. Relying on quick fixes and over-the-counter supplements that promise overnight results. You've seen the ads, shrink your prostate in 7 days, or one pill and you'll sleep through the night again. The truth. Most of these products are filled with weak herbal blends or synthetic fillers that do nothing for long-term prostate support. Worse, some of them actually interfere with your medications or mask your symptoms, allowing your prostate to silently worsen behind the scenes. So what's the fix? It's not another magic pill. The real fix is building a daily prostate-friendly routine. That means drinking more water, cutting back on processed foods, moving your body at least 20 minutes a day, and eating nutrient-dense foods that target inflammation and hormone balance. When men commit to these consistent, simple steps, they see real, lasting improvement. Better flow, less urgency, deeper sleep, and renewed energy. Remember, gentlemen, your prostate doesn't need gimmicks. It needs care, balance, and consistency. Gentlemen, I've shared these 3 habits and the one big mistake because I don't want you, or any man over 60, suffering in silence. But here's the truth. This channel only grows if you help it grow. If you got value today, I'm asking you to hit that like button as an act of service. Why? Because when you do, YouTube shows this video to more men who are silently struggling. Men who may not even know what's happening to their prostate until it's too late. And please, subscribe right now. Think of it this way. Every new subscriber is what motivates me to keep researching, keep creating, and keep showing up with the hard truths your own doctor won't say out loud. Subscribing is your way of telling me, Dr. Naomi, keep going, we need this. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from, and how old are you? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. Take care of your health, gentlemen. Until next time, This is Dr. Naomi Brooks, reminding you, your health is your legacy.